Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what we're going to talk about is garlic. So I've got a couple years of experience behind me now with garlic. The first year I planted was 2018. I did it wrong. Nothing really grew. Garlic was just miserable. Nothing happened. All right, and I'll explain some of that as we go along here. The second year was 2019, and in that year I planted in January. Now that crop grew very well. Had nice big bulbs. That was the year I actually did a video on how to cure and braid garlic, which I'll do again this year if I get another good harvest. And then last year I planted a ton of garlic and I didn't do so well. I planted in November. So not really sure what's going on there. I mean, it could have been that the soil was not as good. You know, it didn't have as much compost in it. It might have been that the watering didn't get done as well as it should have. I didn't get enough water onto it to actually get it to grow well. Or it could have been the time frame. Also, the 2 years were quite different. One year was a lot warmer. The year that I did better was a warmer winter. But last year's winter was a very cold winter. So I'm not really sure what's going on with all that. But from everything I understand, what you want is you want cool temperatures and a decent amount of moisture, but most people don't even water the garlic. They just, you know, use the existing rainfall that happens. The issue here in Florida is that basically, you know, in the wintertime we don't get a lot of rain. So this year I will make sure to water better, to get more water on the crop and make sure that it stays moist enough to promote growth. So with that being said, the year I didn't do so well, I planted in November. The year I did better, I planted in January. So this year, today is the 1st of December, so we're going to go ahead and plant 1st of December, and we'll see how that goes. Now, what am I planting? Both years that I planted prior, I went out and bought garlic from the store, which I have done this time. Now, one of the issues with garlic that you buy from the store, it doesn't give you a variety, and it doesn't tell you if it's a hard nut or a soft neck garlic. But from everything I've read, typically speaking, most of the garlic you buy in the store is a hard neck variety. Now, one of the things that I have been told, I don't know if it's true or not, is that the hard neck does better in the south. So maybe that's part of the issues I'm having. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you basically the garlic clove that's inside of a garlic bulb. So this is a bulb, and then inside of your garlic bulb you have cloves. Now the best way to go about this separating them is just to pop them apart, take off this outer layer only of paper, and then separate them into the individual cloves. Now a lot of people have also said that the fatter the clove, the more likely it is to grow a bigger garlic. How true that is, I don't know. But I will tell you that one of the issues I had, I'm pretty sure was the problem I had one year, was that on some of these I actually removed the outer paper from the clove of garlic. Now I won't do that this year, and in fact the last 2 years that I had decent results, I did not remove that paper, and of course I did a lot better. So leave the paper on to the extent that's possible. All right, and go ahead and separate your bulbs out into cloves. All right, so out of that one bulb I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cloves of garlic, but at least 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 of them or so were a bit too small. Now another thing we're going to plant today is elephant garlic. Now I had never seen elephant garlic in the store, but I went to my local Publix and they had a bulb, or they had bulbs of elephant garlic for sale. So we're going to try and plant elephant garlic this year. Now another thing that I have done, I'm going to leave that in there for now. Another thing that I have done this year that I had not done prior to is I have vernalized them. Now, what is vernalized? Vernalized is basically put them in a fridge so that they got nice and cold. Now I left them in there for a few weeks to try and get them to be vernalized. All right, and particularly here in the south, because we don't get the colder temperatures that garlic likes, this apparently is a good idea. All right, so I did not do that the year that I had a good harvest or the year that I had a bad harvest, so I don't know whether or not that's going to help. But I wanted to plant in December anyway, and because I had bought these earlier, I figured what the heck, let's throw them in the fridge and see what happens. All right. Now my goal is to hopefully get enough garlic to where I can actually not only grow the garlic that we use, but also grow the garlic that we plant. All right, so if I can get enough growing, I should be able to save enough so I have seed stock for the next year. All right, so let me go through and do all this, get them all split out, and then we'll get to planting. Okay, so how far apart do you want to plant them, and you know, how wide between the spacing? So one of the things that, again, I was watching some other shows on YouTube, and with a little bit of past experience. Last year, what I did is I planted double rows, about 4 inches apart. Once again, I wasn't too successful with that, so I'm not really sure what the variables are that caused me to be less successful. But this year, what I'm planning to do is that I want to basically leave room in between so that I can plant leafy greens in between, like lettuce or possibly some tatsoi and some other things. Though I will tell you that apparently garlic does not like to be around, or doesn't work out well with cabbage plants and beans. So any legume type of plant, you know, whether it be beans, peas, any of that, you probably should not put garlic in with it. And again, like I said, I have also seen that it doesn't like cabbage. And in fact, I tried to grow cabbage in between the rows of garlic and onions last year, and chard. Beets was another one that apparently doesn't like, and neither did well. I mean, like, they didn't grow beyond a couple of inches and then they just died back. Once again, it could have been soil, but you know, I mean, I have a chart. The chart says they don't go well together, so I'm going to abide by the chart and plan on not planting them. Now, the distance apart, I'm going to put them about a fist apart, plus or minus a few. All right, and then the depth. The depth is going to be about a finger deep, plus or minus a bit. So that's going to mean that they're going to be about, you know, about twice their length deep. All right, and then let me show you this. When you actually go to planting your garlic, there are two distinctive ends to a garlic. There's the top pointy part, and then there's the bottom flat part. The flat part is where the roots are going to come out of. The pointy part is where the leaves are going to come out of. You need to plant them right side up. And you know, I don't lay them on the side. I stand them up like this so that the leaves can come up and the roots can go down. Okay, so it's important when you plant your garlic how you orient them in the ground. Not like other seeds where you can just toss them in. All right, so we're going to go about doing that. I do have a string and a couple of sticks to hold it in place, and that's just so that I can kind of get in, you know, a semi-straight line. All right, and then once again, about a finger deep. And basically, I just go through, stick the finger in, drop the bulb down in, cover. All right, so now what we have here, let me do this, spread those out, is elephant garlic. Now the elephant garlic I have never grown at all. And people say it's a different taste. It's not like regular garlic at all. And I don't know whether I can grow it here or not, but you can see, look at the size of that clove. All right, so out of this big old monster bulb, which I think is interesting, it started coming apart in the fridge. All right, but out of that big old monster bulb, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actual cloves is what it appears that I have here. So now, again, this is not something I have ever done before, so I'm not really sure how to go about this. But we're going to go with the same kind of rules that I've had before, and that is 1, leave the paper on. 2, of course, you want the pointy side up, the flat side down, or the side that had the roots previously, and the side that was towards the top of the bulb. All right, and then keep the paper on as best as possible. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay out another patch, and I'm going to put these in the ground as well. And we'll see. I mean, if I get it, great. If I like the taste of it, we'll probably grow some more. But in any case, you know, all it cost me was the cost of that one bulb, which it says on there what the cost is. No, I don't remember how much it cost. But at any rate, if all of these grow, you know, I could, you know, potentially have 5 bulbs for the cost of 1. And then if I can save 1 of those to plant again next year, or maybe 2, then you know, we should be able to start actually growing our own. I will tell you that elephant garlic is extremely hard to find for some reason online. It seems to me, at least. And like everybody seems to be out of it. Like I checked throughout the year, it seemed like nobody had it in stock. And I was just really amazed to find it at my local Publix. So when it comes to planting these, I know they get bigger. So I'm going to plant them further apart. I'm probably going to give them a foot in between. And basically I'll just make 1 row of the elephant garlic by itself. Give at least a foot on all sides for this. So I'll plant them here in a little bit. Rules for garlic. What are the rules for garlic? You know, of course, I'm probably not the guy to ask because I haven't been able to grow a no-kidding, really seriously good crop other than that 1 year. 1, plant it when it's cold. I have grown it directly from the store. Not last year, but the year before when I got the seed, I bought it at the store, and that same day I planted it in the ground, and it grew nice big fat bulbs, and they preserved well, lasted us a long time. And we had, I want to say it was 24 bulbs that I put into a braid. All right, so I did very well on that that particular year. 2, my impression is keep it, you know, watered, not over watered, but you know, keep it watered like you would the rest of your garden essentially. All right, so if you're not getting rain, make sure you give it some water. I think that was probably one of the big fails last year. 2, it seems to like, just like any other root crop, a nice loose moist soil, preferably well draining. And then the other thing would be how to plant them. You know, make sure that you plant pointy side up, fat side down. And from everything everybody else has said, if you plant little cloves, you're going to get little bulbs. So, you know, try and stick with your bigger, fatter bulbs when it comes to planting them. Now, I have a chart, and this is something you might want to look at. There are certain things that supposedly does not grow well around garlic. That includes beans, that includes cabbage type plants, and a couple others. Beets. So you may not want to do that, but I will tell you, last year I grew chard right behind me that seemed to grow quite well, and near it I grew garlic. Now the question is, would my garlic would my chard have grown better without the garlic there? I don't know. The reason I did that is because I use a lot of garlic in the garden for pest suppression purposes. The idea is that if they smell the garlic, hopefully it will drive a lot of pests away. It is a great use for garlic, but I don't know whether or not that may have caused some issues with growth on some of my plants. Not that I have noticed, I'll be honest with you. It did not seem to be an issue, but I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it either. So just keep that in mind. There are certain plants, and this is information that's available online. I downloaded a really nice chart from Pinterest. If you go looking on Pinterest, there's a lot of companion charts, and I like it because I printed that chart up and now I've got it in my binder, so I don't have to go looking online to find what are companion plants and what aren't. Now the validity of that chart, I don't know, but there's books out there, there is several websites out there that you can find different companion planting ideas and things not to do. I will tell you, one of the things that's supposed to be really good is garlic around fruit trees. And I have planted multiple garlics in the past, and I'm probably going to go around today and plant a bunch of these other bulbs in and around my fruit trees because that helps to ward off pests as well. And apparently fruit trees love them, particularly apple trees. So I'm going to plant some more of those around my fruit trees. It is a good part of a fruit tree guild, all right, because it is a pest suppressor. But that's how I'm going about planting my garlic. This is the time frame I'm going to do it. Again, it's December 1st. Kind of splitting that gap between the January and November time frames that I've done in the past. And if this works out, then that'll probably be my planting point from this point on. I do watch another channel. It's called Lazy Dog Farm. And he lives just north of me in Georgia, but he's in zone 8, I'm in zone 9A. And he plants his about a month, well, he planted his I think about a month ago. All right, so I'm going to, err on the side of caution. I do believe that the key to when to plant is really more about temperature than time. All right, our nights are starting to get down into the 40s at night. We're pretty consistently below 50 degrees at night, and that should keep that soil temperature cooler. And I think that's going to be more successful in the long run because they do like that cool soil as they start to grow. All right. So I've got a couple rows planted. I'm going to finish planting some stuff up. I'm going to water it in real good, and that'll be my garlic plant for this year. So thanks once again for stopping by and watching what I do. Hopefully it gives you some inspiration on what to do in your garden. If you're in the Northeast Florida area, or pretty much anywhere, if you can still get garlic in the ground and you haven't, it's a good time to do that. I would, highly recommend it. Garlic can be expensive, and it is one of the bigger imports from China. So if you're not into importing a lot of your stuff from foreign countries, then now's a great time to get some planted. You can plant store-bought garlic. I have done it several years in a row and gotten decent harvest, at least decent harvest, all 3 years. No, actually the 2 years. First one I messed it all up. That was my fault. All right, so you don't need necessarily to go buy seed garlic. You can just buy garlic from the store as long as it hasn't been irradiated to prevent growth. All right. So anyway, thanks once again for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe. Pass it around. If you got other people thinking about doing a garden, give them some information. Hopefully what I've talked about here will help you out. Give me some comments if you've got comments or ideas on how you do it, particularly if you're in this area. I would love to hear your philosophy, your thoughts on how to grow garlic. All right, but either way, again, thanks for stopping by, and don't forget, grow something.